Here's the truth no one told you. You're not insecure by nature. You were programmed to be controllable. But there's a way to rewire that programming and become unstoppable. I saw it on the street last week. A man arguing with a parking officer, explaining why he shouldn't get a ticket. 10 minutes of excuses, evidence, and pleading. The officer just nodded, unimpressed, and handed him the ticket anyway. That's the reality. If someone doesn't respect your position, no amount of explaining changes the outcome. These men are everywhere. Maybe you're one of them. Maybe you recognize yourself in this story. Maybe you're tired of being overlooked, underestimated, and treated like you don't matter. You're not lacking confidence because you were born that way. You're lacking confidence because you were conditioned that way. Trained to be predictable. Controlled to be manageable. But centuries ago, thinkers uncovered principles that society still doesn't want you to know. Not the pretty rules of politeness, the real rules of influence, respect, and power. The rules that make a man unshakable. I'm talking about becoming the type of man who walks into a room and everyone notices. The type who speaks once and everyone listens. The type who sets a boundary and it is respected without question. The man who cannot be manipulated, intimidated, or ignored. The man who commands respect naturally. In the next few minutes, you'll discover 8 principles that can transform you from overlooked to noticed. From begging for respect to commanding it. From hoping for good outcomes to engineering them. But here's the warning. Once you hear this, you can't unhear it. Once you see the truth about how influence works, you can't go back to playing small. Now, before we dive in, type this in the comments. I refuse to be held back. Let's begin. Principle 1. Transform your inner self. Inside you live 2 voices. One is timid, apologetic, and desperate for approval. The other is confident, assured, and commands respect. Every day you feed one and starve the other. Most men starve the confident voice without even realizing it. They let their weaker voice dominate every decision. That's why they tolerate disrespect. That's why they over-explain themselves. That's why they apologize when they've done nothing wrong. That's why they put everyone else's needs above their own and end up empty. But here's the truth. Every time you protect someone else's feelings at the expense of your own standards, you're being unkind to yourself. Every time you let someone cross your boundaries without consequence, you're teaching them your boundaries don't matter. The weak self says, I don't want to hurt their feelings. The strong self says, I won't compromise my standards. The weak self says, maybe I misunderstood. The strong self says, I understood perfectly and I didn't like what I understood. The weak self says, maybe I should give them another chance. The strong self says, they already used their chance. The transformation isn't about becoming cruel. It's about becoming deliberate, enforcing your boundaries without endless explanations, responding to disrespect with consequences instead of debates, protecting your time like it's gold. From this moment, you choose which self gets fed. Principle 2. Build the fortress mind. Your mind can be your greatest ally or your greatest enemy. Most men let criticism cut too deep. Let setbacks feel personal. Let emotions dictate choices. Their minds are chaotic, fragile, and easily broken. The fortress mind is different. It processes attacks strategically, not emotionally. Criticism doesn't wound. It reveals the critic's character. Disappointment doesn't shock. It confirms what was already suspected. Betrayal doesn't destroy. It becomes data to refine your strategy. When someone disrespects you, it isn't about you. It's about them. When someone manipulates you, it isn't proof of your weakness. It's proof of their desperation. Anger becomes information. Pain becomes clarity. Fear becomes a signal you are about to grow. The fortress mind isn't numb. It's precise. It refuses to hand control of your peace to external events. Build your fortress. Expect setbacks. Anticipate betrayal. Prepare for envy. And when they come, you won't be shaken. Principle 3. Master silence. Weak men waste their strength on words. They defend themselves endlessly. They explain themselves to people who already made up their minds. They argue with critics who will never respect them anyway. And in doing so, they hand away their authority. Influential men understand this. Silence is power. When you stop over-explaining, something shifts. People stop testing you. They stop pushing. They start respecting. Silence creates mystery. Mystery creates influence. Influence creates control. But here's the key. Silence isn't emptiness. It's selection. Because you've been sparing with words, when you do speak, each word lands like a hammer. When you set a boundary with silence behind it, people obey it. When you pause instead of snapping back, people lean in. Let other men shout, defend, and explain. You will let silence do your speaking. And when you finally choose to speak, they will listen. Principle 4. Turn setbacks into strength. Most men collapse when betrayed. They take disappointment personally. They spend months replaying conversations and feeling sorry for themselves. But here's reality. Disappointment is guaranteed. Friends will choose themselves over you. Partners will betray for profit. Allies will turn into rivals. Stop expecting loyalty as the rule. Expect self-interest. Because when you expect it, you are never blindsided. Betrayal isn't a wound, it's a revelation. It tells you exactly who they are. And that clarity is priceless. Every setback teaches you who deserves trust, who deserves distance, and who deserves nothing. Your job is not to waste energy on revenge or self-pity. Your job is to learn the lesson, tighten your circle, and move forward sharper than before. The more disappointments you survive, the stronger you become. Because no man can call himself powerful until he has endured betrayal and used it as fuel. Principle 5. Silence your critics through excellence. Weak men argue with critics. Strong men bury critics under undeniable results. Arguing with them places you on their level. Answering them treats their judgment as equal to yours. Stop dignifying baseless criticism with energy. Let your success make their words irrelevant. Let your consistency make their doubts laughable. Let your results speak so loudly that their voices are drowned out. When you win enough, even their criticism transforms into envy. And envy is just disguised respect. Principle 6. Control your reputation. People form judgments within seconds. Most men leave that impression to chance. You won't. Reputation is a weapon. It precedes you into rooms. It determines how people treat you before you open your mouth. Control what they see. Stand like you belong. Speak less but with precision. Carry yourself with calm strength. Do not overshare. Do not over-explain. Mystery forces respect. Competence earns trust. Consistency builds legend. When you master your reputation, people respect your name before they even meet you. Principle 7. Make excellence your discipline. Excellence isn't an act for special occasions. It's not something you turn on only when someone is watching. Excellence is a daily ritual. It's forged in the invisible choices. Getting up when you don't want to. Keeping promises when it's inconvenient. Doing the hard task when nobody is keeping score. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you strengthen your foundation. Every time you follow through on your word, you harden your resolve. Excellence becomes your identity. And when excellence is who you are, influence is the natural result. Principle 8. Become unstoppable. This is the final transformation. Unstoppable doesn't mean untouchable. It means unshakable. Criticism cannot derail you. Disappointment cannot surprise you. Betrayal cannot break you. You are not controlled by others' opinions, reactions, or approval. You control yourself. The unstoppable man is self-reliant, self-disciplined, and self-directed. He doesn't beg for opportunities. He creates them. He doesn't wait for permission. He takes action. He doesn't collapse when tested. He grows stronger. When weak men try to provoke you, they will fail. When critics try to shame you, they will tire themselves out. When doubters try to break you, they will discover there is nothing to break. Because you are not fragile. You are forged. You started this video as one man. You are finishing it as another. Your uncertain self is fading. Your fortress mind is built. Your silence is sharpened. Your setbacks are fuel. Your critics are irrelevant. Your reputation is under your control. Your excellence is your ritual. And your unstoppable self has arrived. Now stand firm, because the world will test you. Old patterns will call you back. People will push against your new strength. Do not yield. You are no longer the man who explains himself to those who don't matter. You are the man who shapes outcomes by force of presence. Type it one more time in the comments. I refuse to be stopped. Because from this moment on, you are not breakable. You are not bendable. You are unstoppable.